Hazelcat, Hazelcat, rescue cat who knows where it's at. Use a chair for her bed, pair of cymbals by her head. Look out, here comes the Hazelcat.
We killed the first minute and a half of this episode looking at static images of the city. Finally, nearly 3 minutes in, counting the opening theme, we hear an alarm. Spider-Man hears a guy say, "Help, I've been robbed," and then we're back to the cityscape. Spider-Man called whoever yelled Louie. This far in, some guy named Louie got robbed. That's what we know.
Millions! Ah! When the clock strikes, we strike. Neat haul, huh, Dr. Cool?
My midnight hauls are always neat, aren't they, guard? Better put the ice on ice.
This place makes ice and sells it to people and businesses. I'm not sure how prevalent the ice trade was in New York in the 60s, but before everybody got a refrigerator, it was common to buy ice from the guy in the big cold truck to keep your food cold. You didn't have a refrigerator, you had an ice box. It was specially insulated so the ice you bought from the iceman didn't melt as fast as it normally would, so it kept your food cold and preserved for as long as you kept the ice fresh. As recently as the 70s, some of my older friends still said icebox when they meant the refrigerator. I'm not sure why Louie needs to buy ice or what he does with it, but the guys from the ice truck were the ones who robbed him. And when Dr. Cool says put them on ice, he meant it.
We will set the nuclear thermostat for absolute zero. In this super frosted form, it will be impossible to discern our hot ice from the ordinary variety. Then, right under the noses of international customs, we will make the customary shipments at customary profits.
We have yet to build a machine that can achieve absolute zero. The energy and complexity required even to try would have the authorities running to his place the moment they saw such a massive power draw. More important, absolute zero isn't necessary for what he's doing. 20 degrees Fahrenheit minus 6 Celsius will do everything he wants. But absolute zero sounds more dramatic than cold enough to make ice.
I wonder what we'll get for this.
About 10 to 20 years, I'd guess.
Spider-Man!
Of course, there's always time off for good behavior, and you fellas are going to behave, aren't you?
Oh, yeah? I'll get this.
Sit down.
Garth, most people sit using the other side of their body.
Garth, I suggest you take this gentleman's advice.
But, Doc!
It appears he has us at the advantage.
I bow to your good sense.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Sure glad his spider sense told him to watch out. With sufficient drama and lots of padding, they tie him up and put him in the freezer. The doctor turns it down to absolute zero again, and they leave.
And since this refrigeration unit is nuclear powered, you will probably keep forever on ice.
The presence of an unauthorized nuclear power plant would raise a few eyebrows among city leaders, too. A facility capable of doing what he says would be roughly the size of the Pentagon, especially in 1968 before microchips really became a thing. He's in a storefront. Considering all that, I hesitate to say it, but just go with it.
And you have heard, have you not, Webbed Wonder, of the incredible delusions that come on the mind as it numbs? Yes, people imagine all sorts of things before they're frozen doom.
We watch Spider-Man slowly succumb to the cold. He's covered in ice, and it looks like that's it for our Webbed Wonder. Or not. Somehow the water in his body didn't freeze, crystallize, and burst all his cells. Talk about a stroke of luck. He figures the nuclear power must have run out, so a little spider strength to snap the ropes and break the door open, and he's free. Now let's go find these guys.
Wow, how long have I been sleeping? All this wasn't here before. I would have remembered when I came in. And how long ago was that? Good grief!
The city is in ruins. Huge crows stalk the sky looking for food. But he hasn't gotten his biggest surprise yet.
Caveman!
Rasta.
And one time in any 60s science fiction situation, they don't speak English. There are dozens of them, and more keep appearing. The human race forgot all its technological advances, but at least they didn't forget how to reproduce. Okay, remember what Dr. Cool said about delusions and all that? Yeah, the next 8 minutes only happened in his head. He meets a woolly mammoth, a T-Rex, a crow the size and shape of a pterodactyl. Pardon my bluntness, but it's dumb. He didn't time travel, time elapse normally, which means he has no way to get back. This is his world now, and leaving him in it will kill comic sales. So it has to be a dream. It's the usual fare, repeated footage. Spidey says he's going to do something, and then we get a dozen cutaways, web swings, and what have you to fill the runtime. I see no point in trying to examine it because it's meaningless. Nearly the entire episode is filler. Still, after we bypass the nightmares, something really is happening.
Spider-Man, ain't it? Yes, but who are you?
The Iceman. I just stopped in off my regular run to pick up a load. Figured I'd get caught up on my work, you know.
So this is a working ice house that guys like him get their ice from. If you're thinking of going into the ice business, making a freezer that can go all the way to absolute zero and running it on nuclear power is one way to be sure you go bankrupt from the upkeep. But that's not our man's concern. He's just the driver and Spider-Man's rescuer. He says Spidey must have been in there for a good 24 hours. We know Dr. Cool and Garth.
Party on, Garth.
No.
'Cause I got a friend.
No! Spider-Man knows they pull their jobs around midnight. They'll assume they eliminated Spider-Man and come back to stash their haul. He'll be ready for them.
Wonder what we'll get for this.
This time you'll get the cooler.
Spider-Man! No!
If you don't get a chocolate-dipped pistol, that won't happen. You do realize he can just do that. Now it's his turn. They didn't realize they could step out of the way just like he did. That isn't taught in villain school.
I've got to hand it to you, Spider-Man. They sure were a pair of slippery characters. How did you handle it?
I don't know. I guess you could say I just kept my cool.
It could have been worse. He could have done a joke about putting them on ice. When we start pulling out the "it was all a dream" card, we're out of ideas. We have one more episode left in this god-awful season, so let's get it over with. Because I have a feeling I'm going to need that break before we start season 3. This season has really been a test of my determination to bring you the whole series. It's just so poorly done. The season finale is called To Cage a Spider. My guess? Somebody's going to invent an adamantium-style metal and make it into bars he can't bend except he can. That would be par for the course. We'll find out next time. Ice and sells it to people in business. I don't care. No, we don't need that line.